Geico presents sharing versus oversharing. Earlier this week, Claire Tippins shared a princess nickname generator, 3 pictures of her dog wearing a tutu, and 2 online quizzes, including what candy is your dream castle made of? Claire, your sharing has tipped the sugar scale and turned into oversharing. But have no fear, princess. Geico has something worth sharing with your internet kingdom, like how you could save hundreds on your car insurance just by visiting geico.com. No magic wand required. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Blog Talk Radio.
Yes, yes, yes. This is another episode of Wake Up African People, and this is the Truth Doctor, along with my co-host, Brother B. We are here tonight. The name of the show is Umar Johnson is Officially a Fraud. Now, Umar Johnson has been presented documents and papers and requested to show his documents and papers by scholarly people, educators, and the likes of all type of citizens wanting to know about where's this money going to that he collected from the people. Is he really a psychiatrist? Is he really Umar Abdul Muhammad, or is he Umar Abdul Rashad Johnson, or what the hell is he? Is he Shoemaker? Is he Jermaine Shoemaker? I mean, what is this guy? Who is this guy? Tonight, we are hoping to find out. He has not said anything about what we have requested, but made demeanoring memes of a sister as a pig, and now he's using her on his GoFundMe account. He has a pig of the sister on his GoFundMe account. Now, what type of black leader or intellectual or scholarly person acts like this? None that I know of. I mean, this guy has made a new trend, or what word am I looking for? He has, nothing in history has been seen like this. He's a complete clown, and if our leadership and the people that you want to follow have come to this point of decadence and lowliness, I don't know what to say about the black race. I mean, the people that outright follow this guy and outright come and attack people who's trying to tell you and warn you that this guy is a charlatan and he's not who he say he is. He's not a real doctor or anything. I mean, the average person, and I've heard this, thinks that this guy is going through a nervous breakdown, that he's completely insane, that he has lost his scruples some type of way. We don't know. So we're hoping to get to the bottom of this guy tonight to find out what the heck is going on and why is it that we as a people have took on a culture of worshiping the lowest people that come out of our society, the dope dealers, the pimps. You hear women, instead of saying they want good men, they want thugs. I mean, the preachers, the pimp preachers have been pimping us for years. I mean, it's like our people are addicted, and I can understand, because it started out in slavery with master picking your leaders, and they had to be, they had to be of the worst type. You never was going to pick no progressive leader for you, and today we still have these decadent leaders popping up, using their people for their own self-benefits, like the preachers. I mean, I've heard people say, well, if the preachers is doing it, why are you mad at Umar Johnson for doing that? I mean, that does not even make any sense. Any sane person, I mean, in kindergarten, if you ain't been as far as kindergarten, it's not that stupid. To say that, okay, it's okay for him to rob us because somebody else is robbing us. Like, that's like saying a rapist is okay for a rapist to rape because somebody else is raping, or a killer to kill because somebody else is killing, or a thief to steal because somebody else is stealing. That's what you're saying. Oh, you give your money to the preachers. We don't give our money to preachers, not the people in Wake Up African People. We are progressive black people who know that all this stuff is a trick bag, and we're now trying to build our race. And people like him are standing in the way of us educating and teaching our people the right direction to go in. And we've been trying to give that information here at Wake Up African People. Stop picking these one messianic leaders, because that's not going to ever happen. No nation, no people are led by one person. Even if it was a king, he has his court and all this stuff behind him. He couldn't even do it by himself. So this one leader stuff comes straight out of Christianity, the Christian way of life. Jesus is going to come back and save us all from the devil, or from evil. This is never going to happen. No one man is never coming nowhere to save you. We have to collectively work together. Stop worshiping the worst of the worst in our society, because he pimped the people and got a Cadillac, so he's cool with you. Look at him. He's funky fresh. But he used the people to get it. Look at the pimp driving the big car. But he pimped our sisters in the streets to get the way he is. He's a parasite. We have to stop worshiping and stop putting parasites and people that rip off our neighborhoods and our people and ruin our people's aspirations to be free up on the pedestal. And this this is some real shit right here. So now, tonight, we have an esteemed panel. We have Brother Mukasa Africa, educator out of Philadelphia. We have Sister Chantel Beatty. You are familiar with her. She wrote the blog. She holds a PhD and many more. I'm not going to get into all her stuff because it's long. And we have another sister in here that has a master's degree, and she works in the psychiatric stuff that Umar claims he works in, but she's real. She sent me all her information. Her name is Andrea, and I'm not Queen Andrea, and she sent me all her information. I've seen it all her diplomas, everything. This is what's supposed to be done when you are a person that has these backgrounds. You are supposed to send your paperwork. When people have you on their shows, or if people have you speaking in their places that they have in schools and in halls or anything, or bring you in, they supposed to request your documents so they can make sure that you are the person that you say you are, so that they won't be liable or their reputation won't be ruined. There's a lot of people out here now that's requested Umar, or maybe not requesting, because a lot of this requesting stuff, he's renting the venues himself and requesting himself to the cities. We have found evidence that nobody's really, and now one of the strange things with Umar is he bashed the churches, he bashed the pork chop, Reverend Pork Chop, and all this stuff, and and even though I do agree with the Reverend Pork Chop stuff, but he bashed them, but now he's with them. He bashed the homosexuals. Now he's on TV with the homosexuals, and the Atlanta Housewife. The homosexuals run that show. They run Hollywood. This guy's like a chameleon. He changes every single time, every venue he goes to, he changes. All you have to do is go back and look, and you will see that this guy switches up. He's a switch hitter. Everywhere he goes, he switches. Now, I'm going to bring on first the Sister Andrea, and let her explain to you what a clinical psychologist, school psychologist, and all this really does, and what is the difference between them and a real psychologist, and a lot of the things that have to do with mental health in the schools and everything, and wrong information. She's going to correct the wrong information that's been given to you by Umar Johnson. And I'm going to bring her on now, our sister. She's coming to you straight out of the West. I'm going to bring her on now. Sister Andrea, the mic is yours. Good evening,
everyone. Good evening. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes. Could you explain to us how you came about to be in this Umar Johnson situation, and how did you realize that he was not who he said he is?
Yes. So as you said, I'm on the West Coast, and I got a lot of phone calls from people in the mental health field, because I'm a licensed mental health professional. And I was getting all these calls saying, have you heard of this person? He's coming here to speak, and he's a clinical psychologist, and they're rattling off all his credentials and his qualifications. And, so the first thing I did, I looked him up online, because they said he was from Philadelphia. I couldn't find a license for him. So I got online and started Googling him, and I was just reading all of this information about all these grand accomplishments and all these credentials that he seemed to have. So I just looked online, like I always do when we hire people to do assessments for our children and our families. We have to verify who they are with their license. I couldn't find anything at all under all the different names. And so I started looking further, and I saw that other people before me had done the same thing that I had done. And they were running into the same problem about being unable to verify his credentials, which is odd, because I've been working in the mental health field even before I got my license and education, and I was a grant writer, and we would have to verify professors, like their education, because we would write them huge checks into our grant, and we couldn't write anybody a check until we verified, where they got their, doctorates from. We'd call the school or, go to the school's website, and there they are. They're Professor Smith, teaching in the biology department or wherever they were. or psychology department. So we would never have any trouble verifying, in 40, 30 years, we've never had any trouble verifying someone had a license or degree. I've never come across that. So it was odd that I couldn't find anything about him. I even called the state Department of State of Pennsylvania and confirmed he had no license because I couldn't find it online. So you have my information. You can look up my license in the state I'm at. You're going to see me right there because that's a state law. Every state implemented that because there were a lot of unlicensed people practicing without a license, and it was causing a lot of damage. People were committing suicide. So every state has online verification where you can look up someone right away to see whether or not they do have a license. So that was my main concern because as African Americans, there's so few of us out there that have a license to practice. When you have somebody going around saying they have a license to practice mental health and they don't, that is a very big concern. So that is why I got involved, and I'm very upset about it because the things that he's saying, it's already hard enough to get our people to come in to get services. The people that I work with, they're court ordered. I'd say about 65% of them have to come to get services, or they don't get off parole, they don't get their kids back. So it's already hard enough to get them to come in, and then you have people out there who don't even have a license and saying the most outrageous. I don't even know how to. I was so shocked to hear some of the things that he was saying. I was speechless. I mean, you just don't say those kinds of things if you are a professional, responsible person. You can have a personal opinion. We all have our personal views, but you do not get on any national stage and you do not denigrate any protected class of people. Now, the protected classes of people are based on gender, based on race, based on sexual orientation, religion, age, health status, like if you have cancer, HIV. Those people, according to every law under mental health, are people that you cannot denigrate. You have to treat them in a certain way. You have to get special training to be able to help them when they come to you. It doesn't matter your personal opinion about these people because you're a professional. You can go home or you can go to your own colleagues and process your feelings, or even go to your own therapist if you have one to say, you know what, this happened today, somebody is this and I don't agree with it. Process it professionally so when that person comes to you, you're in a position to help them because it's about that person. It's not about you. You're in the helping profession, okay? For him to get up there and the way he talks about, I feel so bad to hear the people calling them names like pigs and maggots. And if he had a license, it would have been revoked by now because all someone would have to do is call the licensing board, and they would go online and see him, and then you'd be called in up on your license. You'd have to go down to the board, and you'd have to justify why you get to keep your license, and then they would take you through this whole huge, evaluation about should you be licensed, and then they would decide whether or not you could keep your license, and if you do, you'd get put on probation for like 3 or 5 years, or they would just revoke you. They would just outright revoke your license. And I feel, based on the things that he is saying, if he had a license, it probably would have been taken by now because he's like involved with dual relationships, telling people, I won't help you unless you pay me, which is completely unethical. You can only have one relationship with a client. That's client-therapist. Like if you get paid through insurance or if they pay you directly or victims of crime, however you are paid to help that client, that's it. You can't say donate to my school because that's dual relationship. That's exploitation of a client. When he was speaking about, don't call me if you're not going to ask me for help for your child if you don't donate to my school. Did you donate to my school? Okay, don't call me then. Don't ask me for how. If you care about people and somebody calls you and they don't have one red cent to their name and they're desperate for help, you were supposed to either help that person or get them to someone who can help them. You don't ever leave somebody hanging like that, ever. And that is unethical. It doesn't mean you should go broke and help everybody that doesn't have money to pay you because that doesn't make any sense. But you should pass that person off. It's called a warm handoff. Get them to someone who can help them, okay? But to say, no, I'm not going to help you unless you donate to my school, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. So those are the kinds of things that I knew right there I knew before, but that's even confirming even more that this person is not a professional mental health provider, because you just would never say anything like that to somebody. You just wouldn't.
Yeah, and our people seem to like it when people talk to them like that. I mean, it's like sadistic. I can't understand, how do you respect somebody that talks down to you like they're up on some type of high pedestal, and you're like a bunch of little children sitting around, grown folks sitting around being lectured to, by this guy telling you that if you don't give him no money, don't call, or if you don't have enough money, he's gonna hang the phone up on you. Even if you're a mother along with your child, he's not a vanguard of the community. Because if you was a vanguard of the community, you would never say anything like that. The Black Panthers didn't say. You ain't got no money when you come for their morning breakfast. You ain't gonna get no meal.
You're right. It's like our people. Our people. Yeah, you're right. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
They fed everybody that they could. And I mean, like you said, even when you go to anybody with mental health issues or everything, even if you didn't have any money, it's facilities that take care of people. They don't want people walking around completely insane. That's dangerous. They have places that you can be referred to. And, this guy, for our people to hear this stuff and don't check it out and don't talk to nobody or even try to reference any of the stuff that this guy's saying, is sick. And I just want to say this one thing, and I'm going to let you keep on with your story. The guy just came to Flint, Michigan, right? Mm-hmm. And Flint has a disaster going on with the water. The water is poison. You can light the water. The water catches on fire when you light it. And this is what they had the people drinking. So people taking water, people in Detroit, a group called New Era, and different groups, a Detroit Water Brigade, and all them people, different people, churches, and all kinds of organizations been taking water to the people up there. Umar Johnson goes there to give a lecture, and he brings not even a droplet of water, for the people. And he goes back and brags on his page, on his internet page, how he sold so many T-shirts and hoodies out there, but did he donate the money? Now he could go back and do it now and claim some, but now that we're mentioning it, but did he donate any of the proceeds of money to the people for water? Or did he just leave town with his sack of money for selling his shirts? And that's what it sounds like anyway, because if he would have done that, he would have put that up for publicity, because he's a one-man publicity stunt. Go ahead, sister.
It's really, I can't tell you, because I don't know him personally what his motivation is, but I do want to say that I've gone to, somebody sent me, I can't remember what it was. Oh, he had sent something about somebody that was so insulting, personally insulting, and I just couldn't believe what it was. He was calling somebody, it was an animal. I don't remember what kind of animal it was. I didn't even know what to say. So I just clicked on the link. I guess it must have been Tweet or Facebook. I don't remember which one it was. Twitter, because I don't use either one of those. And I clicked it on, and I was bombarded with all of these advertisements. It was like a Walmart. It may as well have been Walmart, but the only product being sold was him. All these dollar signs about what he was charging for the next speaking engagement, and I'm going, okay, if you want to be someone who speaks, okay, I don't have any problem with that. If you have a right to make a living, I'm not going to knock anybody for making a living, but you can't say that you are a clinician and you're charging clients to come and see you speak. So make up your mind, what are you? Are you a public speaker or are you a clinician? Mm-hmm. Are you, which one are you? You can't be both and say you're charging your clients to come and see you speak. Because if I'm a clinician, I can't say, okay, John Doe, I just provided you with therapy. Now I want you to bring your whole family to come and see me speak, and it's $20 each. That is totally unethical.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it feels like, okay? Advertising for people that you help. You're supposedly helping, and you want them to come and pay to hear you talk. That is so unethical in 20 different languages. I can't even tell you how unethical that is. And that, this field is very heavily regulated. I thought long and hard before I wanted to see whether or not I wanted to go and get my license. And I decided, yes, it was worth it because there were so many ways I could help, African Americans and other minorities who are suffering out there because there aren't enough people who understand how to work with minority populations. I thought it was well worth it to put up with some of the rules that are kind of, a little bit ridiculous. But this rule isn't ridiculous because it protects the client. It's all about protecting the client, not about the therapist getting rich. Now, some therapists make pretty good money because they're working professionally, they're writing, they're on the talk circuit, but they're not exploiting clients. They're doing it in a professional way, and there is a way to do that.
Mhm. Yes.
So you don't exploit clients when you do it. That's the part that upsets me the most. Now, the other part, if I may, did you want to say something?
No, go ahead, sister. Go ahead.
Okay, I did send to you. I don't know if you received it. It was about the special education services.
I just wanted to know about the 14 different steps you was talking about of diagnosis that they have to go through.
Right.
The different things.
Okay, so
the different things that's wrong that he's telling the people that you was focusing on.
Okay, so the other concern I had, he says that he's a school psychologist. Okay, and I found that very odd because the way he talks about special education, he says he was a school psychologist for 15 years, and how he's discouraging families from, having their children in special ed services. And I'm saying, how can someone who says they're a school psychologist stand up in front of people and advocate for this? Because there are 14 different disability categories under special education, which is called the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. It's been overhauled many times. So he's trying to tell you if your child is deaf or blind, that you shouldn't get them in special ed, because those are some of the categories. So if your child can't walk or can't hear, don't get them special ed. So those are some of the categories. So what are you saying? Because special education is full inclusion these days. Gone are the days where they would have kids locked up in a room. Remember those days on the other side of campus where you don't go over there because those kids are whatever they are? That's not special education. Special education is full inclusion where teachers come into the classroom to help everybody, and they know who is supposed to get what specific service. So they come into the classroom to provide that service. Now, there are some times when you pull children out because maybe they were gone the day before and they have to get special help with something. But the services are called full inclusion now, where the teachers go in the classroom. So the idea is keeping the kids in the classroom. So
let me ask you a question.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Let me ask you this question before you go past that. Can you go outside that discipline as a licensed person that works inside that field?
What do you mean by? I'm not sure I understand your question.
Like 12 disciplines, right? There's 12 ways to diagnose. Can you go outside that? 14, I meant.
Oh, okay. Let me explain. Okay, the purpose of a school psychologist, this is what he's also not explaining. A school psychologist is not a therapist. The purpose of a school psychologist is to determine whether or not a student falls under one of the 14 categories of special education, which means do one of these categories apply to this child, ages 3 to 21, which means is there a difference or a discrepancy between this child's ability and achievement, which means you may have the ability to do math, as an example, but there's something that's blocking you, and it's on one of these categories. One of these 14 categories is stopping you from achieving in math, and I'm only giving you one example, okay? So, and you can only determine whether or not there is discrepancy between ability and achievement by giving assessments, standardized assessments, okay? Then you have to interview the family. You got to get medical records. You got to talk to the teachers. You got to review their background. You have to go through all of this process, and then you have a meeting with the parents the teachers, and then you show the results of the assessment. And then the parent decides whether or not they agree with the assessment and whether or not they want their child to have special ed. What parent wouldn't want that process? So how can you stand up there and tell parents don't give special education a chance? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. You would want to know if your child.
Professor Beatty, I want to agree with Andrea and just interject on that for a minute, and definitely agree with her in saying that, because I am a former math teacher, and I sat in just what she's talking about for 10 years with the special education teacher, the family. You have to have assistant principal or principal there, and the school psychologist. We're all a team. This is a team effort. Yeah. I just wanted to add that part in, just basically saying, for the past 10 years as a math teacher, because you brought up math, because it's usually those are the high areas that they're really concerned about. And we work together as a team in helping the families decide how they want to proceed forward with it. This is all on the family.
Thank you. Amen. That parents have power. You help parents learn how to use their power and decision-making as a parent. So I've helped many parents file what they call due process and mediation. If they feel they haven't received services, the school has no power. You take that up to the state, and that's a federal mandate where a judge comes down to mediate with the parent and the district. And the district gets really scared because the judge is going to look and see if the district followed the federal law. These are federal laws. The school can't do what they want to do, but if the school doesn't even assess the child, then they just run them out of the school and call them misfits and violent. But you haven't even given the child a chance to see if they can benefit from special help. And so you have someone like Umar saying, "Oh, special ed is bad," and then parents listen. That to me is sad.
Very sad. And if they are diagnosed, and it's under the American Disabilities Act, the IDEA Act, and all of that. So if they are diagnosed by a licensed psychologist who does make the diagnosis, the final diagnosis. If they are under that, they're protected, which means that any public school has to provide them everything they need. You have to meet regularly to do what's called the individual education plan, the IEPs for these students. They have to give them everything that they need to be successful in school. They can no longer put them out and say that their problem is, they don't have a father in the family, or because they're African American, or because they think that they have behavior problems, or they come from a single family home. No, the school, the state, the federal government has to provide for these children everything they need, even down to the curriculum, what they need, or they have to pay for them to go to a special private school to receive that.
You're right, but here's the thing I wanted to clarify. They don't call it diagnosis. They call it qualifying disability. Now, the only time that we'll call it a diagnosis is if it comes under other health impairment, depression. But if it's orthopedic impairment, multiple disability, it's called qualifying disability, primary disability. So when he's saying, I know we're just talking words, when he's saying diagnosis, he's acting like he's diagnosing like mental health. If you're a school psychologist, you're determining the primary qualifying disability.
Correct. That goes under OHI.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
The OHI.
Yeah, you're right.
OHI,
No, you're right. OHI. It's OHI. You're right.
So under OHI, that would be diagnosis, but that would come from a doctor. He wouldn't be able to determine that. He could say the person has inattention, but a formal diagnosis under mental health would have to come from that child's physician, okay, to say the child has ADHD. He couldn't do that. He could talk about what they're showing. So if a child's parent brought in a letter saying Johnny has ADHD, then the school has to accept that and determine whether or not it is impacting Johnny's achievement. But too many schools just rush it through because they don't want to deal with it. This is true, but the parent has to be told to put the school to put the brakes on it. And then when the school realizes the parent knows what's going on, then they get scared. But once if the parent doesn't know what's happening, the school can run over the parent. Chantel, I'm sure you've seen that before. Can run them over.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Okay.
Oh, the parent I was one of those parents.
Yes.
I was one of those parents, okay?
Yeah.
The state has to do exactly what the parent wants. Yes. When they are protected under this clause. Yes, definitely, I agree. The parents have the control. There is a pamphlet, and I did a link to that. It's called The Rights and Privacies for the Rights and Privacy for the responsibilities. And every time that there is every year, they also convene for the students to make sure that every year that they're giving them what they need in the school. They have to, by law, give the parents this pamphlet. It's a booklet that tells them their rights and responsibilities as a parent. And their rights basically let them know that what they want for their child supersedes anyone else.
That's right. That's right. And here's the other part.
And I gave a link to that for free. Umar's charging for that. That's for free on the Internet. That is the law. They must have that pamphlet.
He's charging for that? Here's the other part about...
He's charging for that information.
Awful. Here's the other part that upset me to hear Umar talking about trashing special ed. Okay, say a child has an IEP, special ed, and he or she gets into a fight. I'm just giving you an example. The school cannot even suspend that child, expel the child. You can suspend, okay, because you can do that. But you can't put the child out of the school until you have what's called a manifestation hearing, which means you have to go over every single thing in the IEP to make sure the child's IEP was followed to a T.
Right.
If it was not followed, you cannot expel that child. Now, the parent can say, like the school will try to say, yes, we did everything. The parent can say, no, you didn't. And so they have to stop right there, and they can't go forward with expulsion. Other people have to come in and look at all the records and see if the school did what they had. And the schools do not like that. So usually they back off if they know the parent knows. So why are you telling parents not to have access to this? This protects children from having suspensions and expulsions on their records. This stops unfair expulsion and it's unfair suspension because the school wasn't doing their job. Yes,
Umar doesn't even want the parents around their own kids. I mean, he's telling them to tell the parents to get away because they're a bad influence on the children. Don't be nowhere. Just leave them with him, and he'll take care of everything.
I heard that, and I was to me that made me feel so bad because the parents feel bad enough because people are beating up on them bad, and all they're trying to do is try to find out how to get help for their kids. How would he feel if somebody was trashing him as a father? Imagine, okay, parent feels bad enough, and you're going to beat the parent up because their child is having issues and the parent needs help, and you're trashing the parent. To me, that is the worst thing you could do to someone is trash their parenting skills when they're coming to you for help. Now, there is a time when you talk to a parent kind of straight talk, but you got to develop a relationship with them first. You don't trash the parent. You can talk straight because I have to do that sometimes, okay? But you have to do it in a way where they know that you're talking straight. You know how we talk, black folks. But they're going to know you're coming from caring versus trashing them. But he denigrates them. Like the way his voice is, I might send them home to you because you're the problem or something like that. Whatever. I couldn't even listen to it. It was so bad, okay? It was bad.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, what I'm saying is, should he be diagnosing and telling people that he to bring their children into him and all that? Because I have a sister that's on the phone that we both belong to the UNIA that Umar come up out of, and we had a young lady who had a daughter who had special needs, and so we at this particular time believed that Umar was everything that he said he was and more. I mean, he was the king of the earth. I mean, he was the number one UNIA most visible person out there, and we were put for him because we just thought he was doing a good thing. So we gave the girl his phone number, and this is like about 2.5 years ago. I'm gonna let the sister tell the whole story because she was with me when this happened. I'm gonna bring her in, and let her. Because I think she has to go to work tomorrow. You know, we got to have people up. She got to get up early. We're gonna bring her in and let her tell the story. She wanted to tell this story, and we're gonna bring her in because she lives in the city of Philadelphia where Umar lives, and she knows the extensive investigation about what we had on place. That stuff. She's gonna tell you everything tonight. Sister Ebony.
Yes. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm just here just to give a little bit of insight on me personally. I'm 29 years old, and I'm a strong black female, and I see a lot of needs for our people. So Brother Akbar told me to come on tonight just to tell a few things of what's been happening in Philadelphia. So we belong to the UNIA just up to now recently until further events pulled me away. But I still do my own black activism, you know, talking to my friends, my family, you know, people that's willing to hear the good word. So as far as Umar and one of the sisters at the hall, she was basically stating that her daughter was having, like, problems learning, and her daughter was a beautiful girl, and she had those dreads in her hair, and it was just really, she was really Afrocentric. So the kids that are in the inner city, they're not used to that. They're used to the fast talk, the fast life, you know, seeing what these video girls are wearing and stuff. So they were kind of teasing her, bullying her, and it was interfering with her education. So her mother basically was hearing about Dr. Umar, reading up on him online and asking questions, basically trying to reach out to him. So I gave her some information. She called, left messages, basically was trying to get in contact with him because she was trying to get help for her daughter. He just ignored her, never called her back, never even responded. And with me, I never really put my trust anyway in Umar because I know of him. I don't know him personally. But in Philadelphia, I've been living here for 11 years, and his name doesn't really do anything to me. I'm more in my city doing more activist stuff than he will ever be. You know, he claims that he's going to all these different places having speeches. I would never pay to hear him. I would never pay for any of his books. I would never even pay him to talk to me about relationship-wise, parenting, anything, because at the end of the day, like a lot of you women said, stuff on the internet is free. You can Google anything you want right now, and the information is at your fingertips. Knowledge has increased. So for me to pay for the basic stuff that's free, I don't believe in that. So right now, in our Philadelphia public school system is so bad. They just announced on the news that they don't have a budget. After January 29th, they might not even be able to make payroll to pay the teachers for public school education. So now they're trying to make all of the schools charter schools, which is good, but it's bad at the same time because that means a lot of schools will be closing down and a lot of the children will be bused to different schools. And the schools are overcrowded. They're not feeding the children proper meals to, you know, enhance their health and their, you know, full potential and their full growth. And it's a whole bunch of basically a lot of brawls in the city because you have different territories like West Philly, North Philly. So when you combine those two together, the kids can't learn because they're so stuck on who's from this place and who's from this side of the city. So that also hinders the learning process. It's a lot of
Ebony, we don't want to go too far from the Umar thing because this is what we're trying to focus on.
Yeah, I'm getting on that too. So with that, I was just saying he has nothing to do basically with his city with this problem right now. He's flying all over the world, but right now, just the main city that you're from, that this should be your home base to start whatever you're trying to start. But obviously, like you said, he's not doing it. It's too many abandoned schools right now to be your core to start in the inner city to make things happen. But he's not doing it. So this is why I was saying, go ahead.
How about his place of business? Have you seen a place of business down there, an office or anything that we could point at to say this man is really, because he's telling people he has an office somewhere in Philly.
No, I've never heard of any office. I've never really seen an office. I never heard of any, place of business where he was at. I never heard of anything.
If you Google his name, Dr. Umar Johnson, only thing comes up is Googles and GoFundMe's and Twitters and all that. No office, nothing comes up. I've been looking for 2-3 months. Nothing. The man has to have, if he's saying that he has a business. I would like to hear him give the address to where this thing is. Where's his business?
He might be saying that he has a home business, but that's not really helping the situation when what's the good to having a home business, because everybody in the city can't come to your home, everybody in the country can't come to your home. You have to have a place of business to conduct business in. If this is the type of level that you want to reach the people, you can't do it from home. You have to have a decent place of business to work out of. And that goes back to even to the trust issue. I wouldn't trust them anyway. So
and I don't think that you can take people to your home when you're one of them psychologist type people, a doctor or something. I think it's unethical. You can't take people to your home.
Who even said he was a psychologist? I never even heard that he was a psychologist. I just thought he was a black man speaking out here. I never seen no credentials saying that he never was even in a school in Philadelphia to teach or be a psychologist. None of the schools could even accept him. You have to go through a process in the Board of Education. I never heard any school in Philadelphia that he was in.
He did. He worked in a school in Philadelphia, but it was a charter school. It was Kepra, and they had to get rid of him. They got sued.
They got charter, that not a Philadelphia public school. That's what I said, public. Not no charter, a public school. That needs the most help.
Yeah, they had to get him out of there. The brother told me they had to escort him out of there. You know what I'm saying? They could clean out his desk and walked him out. He's not even allowed in the building. He cost him so much money. So it's but one of the main reasons why it's not public is because of ethics and protecting the children and the family. That's why you don't hear about it all on the news, anything like that, because they had to protect the children to a certain extent. So and it's not public school. It's these charter Afrocentric schools and stuff. So
okay, can I say something? Can I say something about the home office? Sorry.
Yes, go ahead.
Sorry, okay, you are, if you're a therapist, remember you have to be licensed though.
Right.
You are able to have a home office, but there are some restrictions. Number one, there has to be a bathroom that is totally separate from the home. You're not allowed to pass through any common area to get to the office, so it has to be something that's separate and apart from your ordinary living quarters. Those are the criteria, and you have to do a certification, and there has to be a visit to the site. So you can have a home office, but it has to be separate from your, like an entranceway has to be separate, and the people can't pass through your ordinary living space.
And that would have an address. It would still be a business you can go to, because you have to go to the treatment. So it would be listed as his business, and you should be able to find it and Google it, or you should be able to Google Earth it and see it.
But there's none of that. I already called them, and other people did too. I've called, looked them up. He did say the woman. I'm sorry, I forgot your name. The woman that was speaking, that gave all the information about Ebony. Ebony. He has stated on many occasions, that he is a clinical psychologist and a child therapist. He has stated that on many places online. Oh my goodness! And he stated
I wouldn't believe that.
I didn't either because I couldn't find it.
I wouldn't believe it even if I seen it. I was like, and I don't have kids, but even if I did, I wouldn't bring my children to him. I wouldn't ask him a thing.
Let me clarify right quick. let me clarify right quick, because he goes from different places and he says different things. He's playing on the mind. Everywhere he goes, he has a different setup. And when people come back and they catch him, he moves the story. He moves the line. So the current story is December 22nd. Yes. This is the current story of Umar as of December 22nd. He's stating, well, I'm not a clinical psychologist. I did not get my license with the state. That's why you cannot find me in the database. This is game. Hold on. Work with me now. Okay. He says what I am is a licensed school psychologist under the Board of Education. Now, but he also states that he has a doctorate of osteopathy, which is a medical degree, in psychology, okay? Now, according to PCOM, now I want everybody to do this. I want you to go online, and I want you to Google the 2009-2010 PCOM catalog. The reason why I say the 2009-2010 is because Dr. Umar Rashad Abdullah Johnson, because Umar forgot to put this on his Photoshop on his commencement program, received a Master's of Science at PCOM, okay, in 2009. Therefore, he would have fell under the 2009-2010 catalog. So when you go to that catalog, because that's the one you pull, he would have entered in the fall of 2009, and you go to the top of page 70, page 69. It will tell you that each recipient of the DO degree must fulfill the requirements of the state licensing board of the state in which the physician chooses to practice. These requirements vary widely and are regulated by the laws of each state, which means they monitor you in your post-graduation. You must be licensed. Why would you get a doctorate of osteopathic clinical psychology degree and you don't get licensed in the state? See, he didn't know that. He's not reading the catalog in his game.
Yeah, right. And my cousin graduated from PCOM, and she's a surgeon. And let me tell you something. Once you finish your graduate program at PCOM, right, you have to go to residency, which she did. And now she's an accomplished surgeon working for she's a director for Bucks County Hospital for breast cancer. So I think my cousin went that year. And I never heard his name in there. I never even seen him at the graduation. That's even if that's true. And I work down the street from PCOM, so I never heard his name down here.
And DOs and MDs are medical doctors. You have to finish 2
years of residency, and that's what she did. She finished after she graduated from there. She went on to finish her residency program, and once you finish your residency program, like you said, which is monitored, it is monitored. And then after that, now she has the PhD at the last end of her name, which is the doctorate degree. And now she's a director at Bucks County for breast cancer. Go ahead, my cousin. But he's not that. and on top of that, like I said, it is a lie. It's lies on top of lies on top of lies.
He's a lie. His con game is so crazy because PCOM also offers a DO in school psychology. So if you're playing the school psychology role, why did you go clinical and not school psychologist DO? You know, I mean, it's just your tongue, it's all mixed up.
Okay, I have something to say. Okay, first off, I sent Akbar a whole, I don't know if you saw this, Chantel. There was a whole different page where he said he got a master's degree from Millersville.
Yeah, he made a mistake. I caught it. Well, see, this alleged person is emailing me. The alleged father has been emailing me, and I've got a lot of things through third parties of Umar, even with, I posted it on my blog, which I can probably figure he's behind it, but I've gotten a lot of certificates and information, which I did put it together. He's alleging this, they're alleging he's using the commencement form. And I don't know if, Andrew, you knew that he was charging people. He did a show where he was it was talking about bottom feeders. So he was addressing the bottom feeders, and at the bottom feeder show was he was going to reveal his commencement program. Well, somebody sent me in the email, an alleged parent sent me an email of this commencement program. It's like, okay, dude, it's like so many errors on here. You forgot to put the MS of psychology at PCOM. You said you got an MS at Millersville. I mean, it's Photoshop. I mean, you got Jessica Avant on there. He's got so much stuff that's I mean, I have the full dissertation. That's all I got to say. I have the full dissertation.
Let me clarify. I have to clarify something. I wanted to clarify. I'm talking about an interview that he did himself, and I actually heard that on YouTube, the interview a while back, but this is the actual word-for-word interview from his own mouth, not that someone told us. And Akbar, I sent that to you.
Yes.
I sent,
but I'm not good
I can post it. I'm just saying, Chantal, if you want me to post that on your website, I can do that. You want me to do that?
Yes, we're gonna post it later on because we have too much to read.
This is an interview. I know this is an interview.
Yes. We'll take the transcript. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, he actually interviewed, and he gave some very specific dates about when he got a bachelor's degree, but he didn't say where it was from. And then he said he got a master's from Millersville, and didn't even mention PCOM. How are you not mentioning your doctorate degree? Isn't that some accomplishment? If you got it in 2010, I've heard 2010, I've heard 2012, I heard 2008. All I'm saying is this. I've been doing this for 30 years and never have anybody refused to give a document. If he is not posting stuff online, he's fraudulent. I know why he's not posting it online. I know why. Because people who have a degree, who have seen degrees, know what to look for if it's fraudulent. If people in the community who don't know, and I'm not putting them down, if they don't know what to look for in a degree, they'll look at the degree and say it's legit. He's only showing
it to people who thinking a commencement program is enough information. And I posted the regulations. You can just go straight to PCOM. PCOM tells you, they'll let you walk across the stage with a mock diploma. You have to go and pick it up. This is PCOM. You have to go pick it up in the records department. And then there's a special ceremony for the commencement, for the conferral for those of the doctor's degree. It's even different. So, he doesn't even know how it goes, which is why he's been busted.
Well, he's not the first. He's not the first person to be frauding the people. He's not the first, and he definitely won't be the last. It's a whole bunch of different crooks out here trying to, defraud the people and let people have false information with lies and deceit. So
and Ebony, you're right. You're right, Ebony. I want to say something right there.
Yeah, we have to just teach our people to beware of stuff like of these type of people that's preying on the weak knowledge and the weak-minded hearts. Because, like you said, an average black person that's not into, basically higher level knowledge is not going to know these things to pinpoint it out like you said. They just, he's speaking some real truth, so he must be believable. But, we know the truth. But they're just they're thirsty for this knowledge. So whatever he's saying, they're going to drink it up because they're like, wow, I never heard no one say this before. I never heard anyone in my family or friends or on the streets tell me this before. They're thirsty, and our people is hungry for this knowledge. And it's not their fault. We can't blame them.
This is why we're doing this show. And this is why a lot of us who are certified educators, psychologists, and doctors, that's why we're standing up to give you guys this information. And we're also taking attacks from people who don't want to receive it. You're 100% right. We know you don't know this information. We know a lot of people don't know this information. That's why we're putting ourselves and our in this here mix. And I said we're putting ourselves on the line because I've been getting a whole lot of attacks on Twitter and everything. The dude done made a meeting with me and Miss Piggy, So I'm saying, and it looks bad with my company as well. So the thing is, we're putting ourselves on the line to let the people know. And what I'm telling you, this is what I'm going to tell the people. And I've said it in my blog, okay, because of just what Ebony said, because there is so much fraud, okay, it's based on credentials, based on identity theft, and based on crowdfunding. When it comes to the credentialing, the only determination that any legitimate person would accept is a raised seal diploma or a raised seal transcript. Photoshop can do a whole lot to make it look like somebody has something. Yes. But those seals, like my company has a seal, and I mentioned it before, I keep my seal locked up in a safe. Those seals are highly secured. Only the authentic, authorized people have those seals. So the universities practice the same type of ethics. They'll tell you if that transcript, if you don't feel that raised seal on that transcript, If you don't feel it on that diploma, nobody is going to accept it and validate it. So, yes, you're right, Ebony. You're 100%. You have every reason to be upset because the people don't have the knowledge. That's what we're trying to do today, is to get that correct knowledge to you so that you know and you will no longer be deceived. So when somebody is coming and telling you, I'm Dr. So-and-so, you know, okay, I need to see your diploma, at least a diploma with the raised seal or transcript. I need to see some verification. If they're saying that they're a certified school person or psychologist, these are open record databases that produce this information.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay. Let me chime back in to my show. You know, y'all ladies, let me get into my whole show. My God.
Yes, sir,
now,
Brother
Akbar. One of the main reasons that this Umar thing is so important is because he is telling people to do wrong things with their children, which is going to end up hurting the child. So this is why. I mean, it may be a drop in the bucket, but he's more than a drop in the bucket because he's dealing with children and he's using people's love and care and concern for their children as a way to get money. I mean, that's the lowest of low. That's like stealing candy baby or something, you know. And you use the people care for their children to manipulate them. This is some serious shit.
Yes, it is.
You know, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, you know, if it was me and I put some money to it, I'll be trying to go to one of his lectures to beat his ass. But, you know, you can't do it that way. I'm advocating that. Now, don't get me wrong. But, you know, I'm that type of, you know, so the thing is, he's a dangerous man. He's dealing with children. He's telling you to leave your children with him, and he's going to take care of it. You're no good. You're nothing. You're bad for your children. I mean, this guy is insane. How are you going to sit up and let a man tell you you're bad for your own children if you wear weaves, if you come in there, you can't come in there, if you got a weave in your head and all that? That means he's going to, as far as weaving, he's not going to have no children in there because most all the black women is wearing weaves and stuff.
But I don't understand what business is his, what people do with...
He's never had
and
intentions.
He got nerves when he messing with strippers with full body wig going. He needs to stop, please.
He's never had intention on getting to school. This is just a hustle. This is the Umar Johnson hustle. He's hustling these people. He's less and less is mentioned in the school. I mean, you don't even basically hear about the school no more. It was a big thing all across the internet, the school, the bus rides to the colleges, and all this other type of stuff. You're starting not to even hear about the school. Trying to get in contact now with the St. Paul's, not the school, but the students that first brought Umar in to help save the school. They thought that he would be a good addition to help to raise money to save the school, but then he hoodwinked them and took over the campaign to try to make the school for his own thing. But he eventually got into that St. Paul school situation with the students that brought him in when they were losing the school and they were trying to get funds to save the school. So go ahead, Queen Andrea, and finish up on what we need to know and what we need to look for and what we need to do about Umar Johnson. What is your opinion on what the people should do?
I think this is my view, and I was going to say this relates to the education part. I don't think anybody should accept he has any degree until you are able to verify. Like when I sent you off far, you see the master's degree that I have on the degree. Yes. It lists the degrees I have from the other schools, doesn't it?
Yes.
Stage 3. Okay, that's what you need to get. If he has a doctorate degree, you should get that doctorate degree, and it will list every degree he has before the doctorate. If you get his master's degree, it will list on the master's degree every degree he had before the master's. If you get the bachelor's degree, it's going to list every degree he had before, because I have an associate. So on my bachelor's degree, it lists the associates. On my master's degree, it lists the you see it, right, in front of you. That is the only way I'm accepting he has any degrees. I'm not listening to anything about him having a degree until I see him show a degree. I don't buy he has any degree. I refuse to buy it because he switched names. You saw when I sent you those 2 different documents from where we live when he came here 2 different times, how he switched his name and how he identified himself in different ways. I refuse to believe he has any degree until I see what I showed you about what I have, because that's how degrees are listed. It shows every degree you had before you received the first degree. And name, see how my name matches? Yeah, I don't buy it.
And the degrees are in your legal government name. You've seen my blogs about identity theft. I'm telling you, Dr. Umar Rashad Abdullah Johnson is not the same person as Dr. Umar Johnson. And we have proof.
You can't. You can't get a name change. You are able to change your name. Proof. Yeah. You are able to change your name, but there's a process. Like a friend of mine got her doctorate degree, and she got married, so she was trying to decide, should I change my degree to my married name? So she did, but there's a process you go through to do that. It's an actual process.
This is not the case in that. I understand that, because my diplomas have Chantel Alexander on them. That's my maiden name. My married name is Chantel Beatty, so you're correct on that. Yeah, I understand. This is definitely not the case. We cannot disclose all of the information that we do have, because we are trying to give Umar the opportunity to come forth and tell us who he is, so that we can match our records together to see if he's telling the truth. So it's only so much that can be disclosed. But the government information or your government ID is what they put. What's on your government ID is what they put on your records. And we have a discrepancy, a very big discrepancy on that.
Honey, I could have told you that without even. I saw that when I couldn't find any information on him.
You can find.
If you go to the school, go to Peacock, you will notice that the 2013 commencement program has been pulled. If you go to googlebooks.com and you key in the dissertation, you will notice that the dissertation, the book, has been pulled. This is something that the government does when they're protecting someone else's identity.
Yes, that's absolutely right.
Okay.
Yep, I agree. I just think it's sad because people work hard to get what little they have, especially if you're African American getting through college. A lot of us get through college. I'm not speaking for everybody, but a lot of us get through college. We don't care about no commencement ceremony. We're getting out of there.
I'm telling you, it's like, please, okay, you can keep that.
That's right.
You mean
about no commencement ceremony? I don't want no commencement ceremony after all the racism we've been through. Okay.
Thank you. That's what the thing. That's why I was angry, because it's like it's so the percentage. Okay, when you talk about the doctors, the percentage of doctors in the world is 2 to 3% of the population. Okay, now you close that down to those who are of African descent, those who are African, or those who are called black in the system of white supremacy. Now you're talking about we're behind the decimal point in the numbers. Okay, and then we had to go through white supremacy and white supremacist tactics and white supremacy code to even achieve that. And then somebody just wants to step on the scene and say, bam, this is what I am. It's like, no. It's just like you were saying as a psychologist. Oh, no. We had to go through some real hard time slavery to make these achievements.
That's right.
But have you noticed that Dr. Umar, so-called Umar Johnson, I hate to say doctor, but so-called Dr. Umar Johnson never mentions the Black Clinical Psychologists, the Association of Black Clinical Psychologists. You never hear him talk about it. He must have to be a copy of them if he was who he says.
No, because he stays away from people. Because we know we have a chapter here. He didn't associate with us here. He didn't come through because I'm a member. I'm an associate member because I'm not an actual psychologist. My license is in another field. Okay, but it's still a license. He doesn't come through us. Okay, because he knows that we would know right away that he's not a licensed mental health professional. We know. Chantel, I'm not an MBA. I'm not a business. Like, I know how to run my business, but I'm not an MBA. It's a very different thing. I have to hire people to do the financial part of my stuff, or I'd be blown up. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and I'm an MBA,
I can't do that.
so things are different.
Yeah, I don't know how to do all that stuff. So we have to hire people to do that part. You know right away I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Okay, I'm not going to pretend I know what to do with the money part. Okay,
right,
I'd be broke.
right, and that's what I meant about the money. You know, like I was saying in my video, the CEO on my board, she owns her own finance company. So if Umar, who is Mr. Umar, okay, because we do know for a fact that he's Mr. Umar right now. I'm just going to tell you and put that on record, okay? Right, Mr. Umar Johnson has been stating this about, you know, of course, him being a doctor and everything, but he's also been, you know, running this gamut of this clinical psychologist, and you know, and then presenting himself, you know, in these different gamuts. But getting back to the point I was making, he's been shown by public records. I'm not trying to disclose too much information. He's been shown by public records to be in default. Default as far as a lien, as far as judgment, as far as child support. Now, I want to get this straight, that it's nothing wrong. Everybody experiences financial problems. It's nothing wrong with anybody having problems with child support or with their credit or any finance, or if it's bankruptcy or liens or whatever. I do not go against that at all. What I'm saying is when you're trying to run a business venture, what you do is you remove yourself. If you have any financial problems, you remove yourself and you put a stand-in, which would have been a financial advisor, which would have been a finance person. Okay, that way you take the possibility of you becoming a fraud, legitimate fraud, or a legitimate embezzler of the funds. You have somebody who's certified to handle the money and the reports. And transparency is a code of government in the United States. Right. You will go to prison by not being transparent of the funds. I'm sorry.
It's true. I don't know. But it just got away. Because the whole thing, I feel, the reason why he's been able to do what he's done, because he targets communities, people who have worked very hard to get what they have, which isn't very much, and he gets it from them. He targets a very specific population, like the pimp in the church. He does the same thing. They give their precious last
He's circulating the church. He's doing the church circuit right now. He's circuit because actually what he did do, which he made another mistake, he put my photo and the photo of Miss Piggy, and he's advertising that with the church. So now you have my face on the meme with the name and address and phone number of a church. You know what? It's like, what do you just like? Do you know what you just did by doing that?
To me, that's just so. I don't even know what to say about that. To me, that's. I don't even know what to say about.
This is what I want to say about the children. Going back to what Akbar has been focusing on, the children, and this is the most important thing with the children. The way that I look at this, and if you guys know about the Tuskegee experiment, the syphilis experiment, usually those of us who become certified researchers, that's the first training we have to go through. We have to learn about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment in extensive, be tested on it, and we have to really go through that program before we even get certified. But if you understand about the Tuskegee syphilis experiment, those people were injected with the syphilis virus. And when the cure came out, when penicillin came out for the cure, the doctors did not render that medicine to those black people, those men, and those families, okay? They also did not get, which is called conferred consent for them to do it. Those men thought they were going to get extra help and stuff like that. So the point that I'm making is, as parents, okay, as parents, as parents of our own children, you want to get the best for your child. If there is a cure for whatever may be wrong with your child, you want the cure. And what Umar is doing is he's being just like the researchers of the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. There is a cure for several things, but he wants to not let you get to the cure. That is asinine. I'm sorry. I have several children and grandchildren. That is terrible. I'm sorry, I just got emotional there as a parent, as a mother of black boys, children, girls, and grandbabies. I can never put my baby through that.
You got to understand. You got to understand, Sister Chantel and Sister Andrea. If he leads you to the cure, he won't make no more money. So he's not trying to the cure. See, just like the regular medical association is giving you this bad medication to mask the sickness, they don't want to make you cure, because if they cure you, they can't make no more money off you. So he doesn't want to send people. He wants to make the psychiatric association or look like the boogeyman, so the people could keep on running back to him, giving them donations. So that's
he stays away. I mean, this is a problem on so many levels: ethics-wise, crime, criminal-wise, civil, criminal, ethical. He's violated all of those.
Yeah,
definitely agree.
Mhm. So, and being that he's not doing it to white people, they don't care. They basically let black people sit out here and destroy each other. And one of our biggest, telling my co-host, brother B, is you with us, brother B? I don't know if brother B with us. We might have put he might have chimed out. But I was telling him earlier today that, you know, it's a shame that we have to fight through all these crooked black people before we can even get started in addressing fighting our problems that our people have. You know, I mean, doing that, we have to go through all these crooks and charlatans and stuff that come on the scene for their own self-benefit. You know, they got these guys taking pictures in hot tubs and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's a celebrity thing. This YouTube, this is some of this internet, this thing has set back, is just as bad as the Barack Obama presidency. It has set back the conscious movement, like Umar markets himself to the conscious movement as like a holistic conscious healer for the children. That he has a new, like almost like his book, The Infeminization of the Young Black Male, and I mean that he has some special type services that can cure your children, you know, and from the ills of white supremacy has done to them. So he's actually using the white as a boogeyman to scare you about your children in order to fleece you for your money.
And parents need to remember, as far as public schools are concerned, there are parents who may not be able to pull their kids out, but like we said, we just disclosed, under the Special Education, American Disabilities Act, IDEA Act, all of those federal acts, if they do not provide your child what they need, they must pay for them to go to a private school. They must pay for it. And just like Andrea was saying, they don't want to do that. Therefore, they must comply. So there are parents who just can't, say to speak, send their children off to a school if this was something legitimate to happen. So they have to deal with it. And they need to learn how to be able to fight so that their kids get what they need until they can do something different. Now, the point that I'm making is, like Akbar is saying, the white people don't care because, number one, everybody pays property taxes. You pay property taxes for public schools. And whether your kids are there or not, you're going to pay for it. So if we're talking about power economics, economic empowering, now you're going to pay for your child to go to public school, because you do, in your taxes. And if you're in an apartment and you're renting, it's all compiled into your rent. And then you're going to make it at your expense to send them to a private school because the public school doesn't do what you want to do. See, that's why the public school said, well, if we're not doing what you need us to do, we'll pay for the private school. That's the route that you have to go through. Okay, that's just for some people. Everybody has their different ways of doing things and what they want to do. But there's some people who just don't have a choice to send their babies to a public school. And I'm basically talking to people who don't have a choice until they can do something different. So you need to consider that you are paying for these public schools in your property taxes, in your rental fees. We pay for these schools.
Exactly. And I just let in a caller 1441. Do you have anything to say?
Greetings, people. How's everybody doing this evening?
Doing very well.
Fine. Thank you.
Good, thank you.
What y'all, what we all need to understand and realize is the exploitation of our people is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And those who are involved in it, you know what I mean, they have a mutual camaraderie. Like, they can go into a public forum and act as if they're going against each other or these little cat fights they have, and then behind closed doors they're all hugging and yeah, bruh, and all that. That's because they want us to give this an illusion that you look at how ignorant everyone's acting towards each other. So whenever you challenge them or you question them, their sheeple followers will come and try to accuse you of the very thing that you're questioning the person who's doing these things. I mean, my concern has averted from all of these Dr. Feelgoods into their followers. Their followers have become more dangerous than actually they are, because one person is nothing. It's like I have a nonprofit organization. I also have my cousin who is also a doctor and a principal at a high school in Cincinnati, and he said he's trying to open his own charter school, and he said the truth comes out when he tries to open a school. He has to be who he says he is. There's no way around that. He said, and the sister who's a doctor herself knows that you can't, when dealing with kids and children, this isn't no circumstance of one man homeschooling some children that he gave birth, that he raised with another woman. This is a man actually opening a school, and he's going to have to show these credentials. So regardless if he has the bumpy paper or not, like my cousin said, if he don't have the bumpy face paper, he's in trouble, man. I mean, you're not going to have to. Right, you're not going to have to convict him or turn him in, and that's a lot of issues that we as black people have. We hide these crooks and criminals within our communities, within our organizations, because it's seen as betrayal, but we always ignore what they have done, betraying us. Leadership calls for a person to be who he says he is, and I have never in my life met a doctor who wouldn't be more than happy to show you the bumpy face paper. They work hard. You think, here, sir.
Like DJ Khaled, I work hard.
Like I'm going to send my child to you and you got a photocopy. Or you got some old mastered up whatever the hell, and if it ain't bumpy, I'm not. It better be, that seal better feel like Braille. So
yeah.
But to be real with y'all sisters and my brother, we have to stay together, because I'm telling you, their followers are man, they're dangerous. I've gone out and I've spoken public, and it's like so if I asked you, you know what I'm saying, how can a brother say all of these things? I mean, I'm Frederick Douglass's grandson, and I'm a doctor, and I worked with medicine. I mean, I can't keep track of all of the things that he is. He's super Pan-African prince. And I'm like, this dude, he
had an action figure out to go nowhere for a minute. You know, he actually made an action. He's a serious.
I understand. I believe. I love confidence in our brothers, and when we can stand up and walk upright. But come on, man, you can't float though. Come down to. What my cousin said is, he said, man, a lot of these, like this so-called Dr. York Z, he's not a doctor, and I said he's no more doctor than Dr. Dre and Dr. Julius Erving. They're entertainers. You don't get to entertain us and then call yourself a doctor. They're hustling with knowledge into us. That's what Brother Satori Still said this to me the other day. He said, man, in order to get the truth to people nowadays, our people, you're going to have to hustle the truth into them, because they don't want to hear it unless you are being revered or you have some revered name or title. the truth alone is nothing. Even if you show them that you're a leader. Like, I'm gonna get off of here and let y'all go back to speaking. Let me say this. This is what leadership calls for. Like, I'm a leader within my movement, the new Pan-African movement. So if I say and teach my apprentices and my brothers and sisters within my community or our community that no man should be seated while one of our sisters are standing or one of the children are standing. No man. For the rest of my life. We ain't talking about for a few months, for a few years. For the rest of my entire life, I can never be caught sitting while children or women are standing. You see what I'm saying? That's what leadership calls for. And if we can't hold our leaders and our teachers accountable, then anybody can come in, exploit us, make a little money like Polite and all the – I can't keep track of all of them. And they're making money, and I and brothers like me are struggling, man, to just – I'm trying to get this van to help the elderly, to move them around, and to get free haircuts. I got to come out of my own pocket. But I do that out of love. I normally don't testify, so y'all didn't hear me say that. I'm just saying it's rough out here for brothers who aren't trying to. You can check my credentials. I've never went past the 8th grade, so you can check it. And I can prove I haven't. You know what I'm saying? My wisdom comes from hands-on. Yeah.
We're working to turn it around. This is why we're having these shows, because we actually have created like a black agency to vet all these so-called leaders that's coming out on the internet and asking for donations. We got them all in our sites, one by one. This is the premier fake one that's out there now. And we had
a Pan-African Leadership Council. Yes, we did.
So we're going to be vetting all these people. I mean, they better be on the lookout, because we are coming after. We're going to investigate them. We are using our private monies. We may even get a grant. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they can call us Retail Pro, anything they want. But we're going to make sure that...
Hey, brother, can you do me a favor?
Yes.
Can you hear me? My name is Brother Mike Howard.
Mm-hmm.
My government name, my African name, I haven't earned yet. I don't go by it because you can't. I just feel like you can't call yourself something if you're not living in it. If you're not living, and my whole primary objective is to build our own self-sustained community. Now, with that being said, I have a brother and some partners I have. We have our own nonprofit organization. When at the end of this, if you want to contact me, or I want you to investigate us thoroughly, because that also helps us with our credibility as well. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to stay legit, and because our people don't trust us. It's not hard to stay legit. It's hard to get the love of our people to support solutions. We're not for remedies. Or like you mentioned earlier, brother, the cure. They don't want the cure. I'm not with community activism. I'm not with marching. I'm not with any of that. I'm with buying land and doing something different, speaking different. I mean, going to different places. We have zero tolerance completely for polygamy and all these eccentric things that all of our people are wrapped up in, and they can say we're pushing them away. We're not pushing them away. It's what they've been doing systematically for over the past, let's say, 100 years. It doesn't work. It's time to wake up, do something new. But anyway, you're more than welcome to research everything, my background, my history, who I am, where I come from. I guarantee you I only have an 8th grade education. I guarantee you I've worked with children, and I was certified through classes and you know what I mean? I didn't get a doctorate degree or any of that. I just went and got a GED and did what I had to do. But
okay. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Okay, can I just say something? I wanted to clarify. I don't want you don't have to discount what you are. The reason why we were talking about the qualifications is that Umar was saying this in order to get people to buy in. My grandpa didn't finish third grade, but he was a man of character. So it doesn't matter. You could never have gone to school. If you're working from your heart and you're caring about people and you're out there doing the right thing, that is more valuable than somebody that does have a doctorate degree that's ripping people off. So it doesn't matter your education. It matters where your heart is. So we're just upset that people are lying about where they're coming from and robbing the people blind that don't even have anything to begin with. So people like you who are struggling to do the right thing can't even get a grant because you got shysters like Umar and company that are just completely taking the nation by storm, and they're not doing anything for our people. Tell me what one thing. Here you are giving meals to the elderly. You're giving meals to the elderly. What is he doing other than going around the world and collecting money, going into his pocket? Tell me one thing he has done to help bring me someone he has helped.
Himself.
Thank you. I like to thank you, sister, because I wasn't really belittling myself. I was really trying to put it out there to let everyone know that it doesn't matter what kind of scholastic background you have or where you come from. It's all about putting those boots to the ground and moving forward. I've worked with doctors and I've worked with people with degrees, and everyone in my family has one but me. I just made the decisions when I was 14. I didn't want to learn anymore from them. I didn't want to learn from Caucasians. From that moment on, I changed my life, and I just stopped, and I went to other, like Dr. Ben, I went to Dr. Clark, and I just was doing my own research, and I went around brothers that were at Wright State and Wilberforce, and they were tuning me on into who to study and speaking to professors at the schools, and they were teaching me. So I started this at 14, so I'm 46 now. And I'm an elder in the community, respected by those who know me, and revered by those like Dr. Umar, because I do not bite my tongue. There's nothing worse than these. Oh man, words can't describe it. Like, I don't know how you could be so unrighteous with a people that are being so downtrodden. It's just unimaginable to me. Like with the pastors here in my own community, and you just take money from any source. I don't want money from drug dealers. I don't want money from shysters, liars. I don't deal with the Farrakhan follower. I don't deal with any of them. They've proven to be. I mean, if you show yourself to me, and if I can prove it without any doubt, you're only and you start arguing with me. Why are you arguing and hollering? And I'm calm. Like, how can a man you go to the Million Man March, I watched it, and he puts all of I don't want to get too far off the topic, but he puts Elijah Muhammad's bastard children up here and tries to, what the hell is he doing? Let me shut up. Never mind. He's a whole nother.
Omar is dealing with the population in his mindset now.
Excuse me.
He's dealing in his.
Excuse me. Yes, my brother. We're gonna I'm gonna let another in, and I'm gonna let another caller in, and then I'm gonna let you stay in, but don't say anything till I bring you in. Okay?
No problem, brother.
Okay, caller 267. This is like a Philly number to me. I hope it's Umar. Do you have anything to say?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi. I stumbled onto your posting on Facebook today, and so I decided to listen to the broadcast because I have to say I was really shocked when I saw the post at first, and let me just first say that I also attended Millersville University, so I really did think that Umar went there. I just thought he went there later on. Then I also found myself in shock because, I met him through an agency that I was working with. They brought him in as a child psychologist that was under the School District of Philadelphia, but then they said that he got fired. But I had recommended his services to so many parents for testing for their children to see if they were mentally gifted or if they needed an IEP. And so, it's been really disturbing to hear the information unfold tonight, knowing that I may have put some people in harm's way. And even as of recently, I was supposed to put in some phone calls to him, but something happened that I never did. And just grateful just for being enlightened. Even as my daughter being an African-American study student, I referred his YouTube videos and because I thought that he was legitimate. And, I am an educated young black woman, and I do read and things for myself. So I'm just saying if I can be deceived, then, who else? You know what I mean? So, I'm just listening to the information.
Let me say this.
And it's mind blowing. It's mind blowing.
Yeah, sister. Let me say this. That they get caught up in the hype of Afrocentrism. Right now, the internet has opened up a lot of our people's minds because we're posting a lot of information and they're seeing things that they never seen and things that people saying on the internet opens their mind and make them think of stuff that they never would have thought of and everything. And it's time right now. And this guy has came in right at the right time to grab the minds of a lot of people who never would have even been thinking about black nationalism or black, red, black, and green or the flag or Marcus Garvey or Malcolm X or any of these things. But being that what's going on in society, our young men are getting shot down in the streets by the police. They're shooting down each other. All these different things going on in our community. We doing to each other. So people are looking for solutions.
Well, I want to say, let me just say this part. I'm not impressed or never was by his nationalism or his blackness. I went to a school that taught us that. I think the part where he got us as parents, as being a parent educator and trying to help and assist parents that might be having troubles with their children in school and things like that, it was the black, clinician psychology aspect of it. That led parents that were looking for answers and solutions for their children, especially young black men, to him. You know what I'm saying? So if, in fact, the information that you're sharing, that he's not licensed, he doesn't have these degrees, and he doesn't have these doctorates, then he was purporting foolishness to our people and, taking advantage of them in their desperateness to help them solve whatever problems they were having with their children. So, that's the part that's just, not good, not good.
What we did was a lot of the other radio shows and things was challenging him, but they didn't have professionals. Like we have on our show, we have Michelle Beatty, who holds a PhD and other degrees in various areas. We have the sister here. She has a master's degree in the clinical, I believe, clinical psychology, sir. Which one is it?
Oh, my degree is in. Are you able to hear me?
Yes. I can hear you.
Degree. My degree is in. I'm a master's degree in counseling, and the emphasis is marriage and family therapy.
So
let me clarify mine too. My name is Chantel Beatty, and I'm a DBA ABD, which means that I'm finalizing my doctoral study, which means I've completed everything except for the final signing off of the chief academic officers. So I don't want to misconstrue that information. That's why I use the term Professor Beatty and not Dr. Beatty. As soon as I get full commencement, I will move to Dr. Beatty. I just want to put that on record. I am an MBA, and I am a former certified math teacher.
And also, can I say, it is very common, just one real quick, it is very widely accepted, and everybody is very proud when they hear the term ABD. It's very respected because everybody's pushing for people because they know how hard it is to work on a doctorate degree. So it's very esteemed to hear somebody say ABD. It's completely acceptable because everybody wants you to get your doctorate. So if he was ABD, he could say that for 5 years and people would understand because they know it's hard, especially if you're African American, to get that doctorate. So why be ashamed to say that if you're ABD? There's nothing wrong with that. But he says he's got everything. But, oh, well. Okay, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt the lecture. Yeah.
One of the main things is that he could have stopped all this onslaught by just pulling out the paper and posting it online. He could have made it available for the people to see, but we called his trump card. So he was using that fake commencement paper and everything. So we start digging deep, and the deeper we dig, the more inconsistencies we. So people don't dig. Our people don't research. They get happy when they see a black person standing up and saying because that many black men stand up. Period. So when they see a black man standing up, so-called challenging white supremacy and everything, they get happy and want to follow these people. I mean, I've seen this guy had the bookstore down here in Detroit, and Nandy's Books, Nandy's Knowledge Cafe, packed for 3 days in the room only.
Right.
Stand only. So the people don't know. They don't know.
Can I quickly answer the question for Brother Mike Howard and the young lady on the phone? I just want to quickly answer. Brother Mike had a question. Basically, he was asking how can somebody do this? And then the lady on the phone, because people are becoming surprised, she was kind of inferring herself, how is he doing this to the people? And what I want people to know is, and I was going to say, is in Umar's head, and he said it in his video, he calls his supporters, this is very important, because he called his supporters, and I'm going to quote, trifling-ass Negroes, okay? All right? And so in his brain, he's dealing with trifling-ass Negroes. So I'm doing this to trifling-ass Negroes. The other word he uses is bottom feeders, okay? And the white supremacists, they have their certain words and codes. Bottom feeders is a code word from white supremacists. It's a word that they use to reference those that they call on the bottom feeders. Or in my specialty, it would be the bottom of the world pyramid, economic pyramid. Those are the people that they feel that are the lowest from the elite. And so that's a terminology that really raised the red flag with me because that's a white supremacist term. So he sees his people as bottom feeders and trifling-ass Negroes. He said this in his video. So that is how he is able to go to bed and get up and doing that. He's like, I'm just doing this to people who don't make any difference in the world on earth.
And that's a shame.
That's not good.
That's what he not said. Good. That's not good, but that's what he
so that
said.
means
that's
that you're purporting the problem in your own community that you're indicting white people of.
He's practicing what I call white supremacy, which is a term we commonly coin proxy racist. We've kind of recoined that word, but it's a tactic that the white supremacists used against our people, practicing it on a very good level.
Is he refusing to come on your show and come to his own defense or explain anything, or what is his stance? Has he, when you reached out to him, what has he said, back?
Well, he made a negative meme of the sister Chantel Beatty and of a pig, Miss Piggy, and her picture put together, and he made a meme of me and Brother Mukas from Africa saying that he was going to smack him and that I was a thirsty, dusty Philadelphia Negro who's jealous because he didn't let me be part of his team.
And I miss Piggy because I had extended full help of my firm if in that time got involved of my international firm in helping him get this school if that's what the people had wanted in that aspect. But, yes, his response to us for the doctoral degrees and for the certified information and government IDs, just like what Brother Akbar said, his response was not a diploma with the raised seal. His response was actually means of me with Miss Piggy, means of Brother Akbar, and means with Brother Mukasa, negative means. That's what he gave us.
Isn't this a great example for the youth?
No,
yep,
not at all.
Very bad.
No, not at all.
Of course, I'm being sarcastic. Yeah.
But he wants
Would you
access
want your
to,
children with that type of a man? Would you want your baby with that
he
type
wants
of a
access
person?
to people's children. He wants access to people's children.
That's horrible.
You know?
Well, so he alleges that he has been a psychologist, one of the two only male black psychologists in the school district of Philadelphia. He said that they dismissed him, but he's had access to many children. Thank God, not my own, because I know how to do my own homework in my own home. But I'm just saying, he has had access to many children. So, like, how are you going to go about alerting the public and letting them know?
We alert.
Because,
the public.
I mean, he has so many little followers, it can kind of look like a smear campaign. So I understood what the sister was saying when she was saying that, she's taking fire, she's taking heat, her own company, she's put on stuff on the line, coming forth with this information because, people might not want to hear it, but I like to hear how you're going to help get the knowledge out.
Well, we're
One
doing
thing
this.
You need to understand the information, the identity theft thing. He's asking people all over the world, all over in different nations and countries. He's asking them for this school for a full-blown resume with address, phone numbers, and photo. Okay, we're in an age where you must protect your information. And people are legitimately sending him this information. And that means he now has a lot of people's photo, address, phone number, and their full background in their CVs or their resumes. That is not recommended for you to do to an unauthorized person. That's via the FBI. That's an FBI. They caution people on identity theft.
Right.
And what we do is we encourage the people to use their own discretion. If they want to call the white man on them, that's what they're doing. What we're doing is we're warning the people so they'll know. So if they feel as though if a malpractice suit, a doctor, or if anybody out there hurt you or something, you usually take them to court or whatever. If that's what the people want to do with them, that's what they should do with them, because this guy is very, very, very dangerous. It's not a joke. Go ahead, Chantel. Chantel?
Oh, I'm sorry. I was finished. That was basically all I had to say. I just wanted the people to know and the reason why I'm saying that is because what I'm trying to get people to understand, because of the information that I put out in my blog, is they got to understand name variances of people. And just there are many Chantel Beatties. There are many Chantel Alexanders, okay? But there's only one Dr. Beatty or Professor Beatty, or only one Dr. Alexander. So that's the point that I'm making in this when I talk about identity theft. And also I'm just I'm making an assumption, or I'm sending people to the PCOM website because I want you to start looking at what they have started to pull down. And this is what people do when they're trying to protect the identities of others. And you have Umar now requesting for more information from other people across nations.
Right.
ProQuest, PROQUEST, is the actual official clearinghouse for dissertations. ProQuest. That has the total, every single dissertation. I think they're even international. So you might want to check them.
Well, no, I've already done that. Let me tell you, I've done that, and I've already done that. I've spoken with the school. Okay. It's not in ProQuest. There's a reason why it's been pulled. Okay, when I say identity, protecting the identity of someone else. Okay, let me just give an example. Let's say that let's just use it as an example. Let's say that I have my full doctorate degree, and then there's somebody, and then I have a middle name. Okay, so somebody goes out that has a name that's close to mine, and they've seen my information that I have out on the internet, and they start using my identity, and then I say, hey, somebody's using my identity. So the school starts pulling all of that stuff down, okay? That would be to protect me. And that's why I said that those things are not out there to protect the actual Umar Rashad Abdullah Johnson, which I am saying is not the same person, Umar Johnson. I have the full dissertation from the school. It's not in ProQuest for a particular reason. Because every time the school is probably monitoring this. They're trying to protect their student from accessing that information and using it against the people. Are you following me?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
I never believed when I first saw his name, because Akbar has the 2 different papers that I sent him. I knew right away something was up with the different names. I didn't do the research you did, but I felt something was wrong. Because why would you do your name like that? Why would you? That's a pretty big difference between names that you're putting out.
We have the full name, government name that he's allegedly going by, but I will not disclose that because if I do, he will take that and run with that. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why he's probably calling you names.
That's why in my blog I asked for a photo ID. Because that's why you have government issued photo IDs so that people can know with a photo that you are indeed who you say you are. Because there can be several Umar Johnsons, okay? There can be several Chantel Beatty, several Chantel Alexanders. I need to see that photo ID issued by the government.
Yeah, but you know how they really
your driver's license, they have your fingerprint.
You're right. You know how they really know who you are, even though people know me, and I have to start, say I do a contract, they want me to do a special project, even they know who I am, I have to go down there and get cleared again by the Department of Justice and the FBI through fingerprints because they want to know, have you been using another name? They run you for AKAs, and then they're going to make me do drug testing again.
Oh, in my FBI security clearance, they went and talked to my family, my family, and everywhere that I had lived since the day I was born, the FBI went and did a full investigation.
Yep, they want to know. And somebody online, Chantel, just so you know, there was a woman online that was calling you. I'm not spreading dissension. People don't understand what you mean when you say FBI check because she was saying, I'm sorry, she wasn't about you. It was about Kim Ringgold. They didn't understand what was meant on the last show when it was said FBI check, and I think you also mentioned yours. Yes, people don't understand what you have to go through.
Me and Kim's was separate.
Yes.
What happened was Kim was being accused of prostitution or whatever because of someone using her name, which was identity theft. So what Kim did to render herself was she contacted the FBI, and she got that corrected, and she literally posted online, hey, this was a mistake. It's not me. Somebody stole my name. Here it is. That's not who they're talking about. You know, she did that. When I talk about an FBI security clearance, that's because I used to work for the United States government and the military. So in order for me just to have a simple job with the government, just a job, okay, this is the things that I had to go through. So those were kind of 2 different things. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, it does, but people are online saying they made it sound like, because they don't understand the difference, when you have to go down there and run your prints to see whether or not you've used, if you're going by AKAs to try to trick the government, because people try to trick the government to do things. So that's why they run the fingerprint check, the live scan check to see if you've been arrested since the last time you run fingerprints, or if you're using an AKA. That comes up on fingerprints.
First of all, let me tell you something. If you're certified, in order for me to become a certified teacher, the government got my fingerprint. So
right.
It's all on there. When I work for the government, they have your fingerprints. They have go ahead.
What I'm saying is this: say, for example, I'm just using you as an example. Say that you went and got arrested. I'll say DUI. I'm just throwing it out there. And then you gave Chantel Smith, and they fingerprinted you. Say that you did that, and you got fingerprinted for a job. Then it would show an AKA. That's why they make me get fingerprinted again. They want to know if I got arrested and put another name in there. If I got arrested and put another name in. That's why they make you run fingerprints. They want to see if you've been putting AKAs in the system. If you've seen some criminals, because I know this, I work with people that are on parole, I get their papers, and honey, they got like 15 AKAs.
Well, the men who have AKAs, now it's different from men and women, because women who've been married, like I said, I will have an AKA of Chantel Beatty or Chantel Alexander from previous marriage. So those will be AKAs also that are legitimate. But when you're looking at a man, right. I'm talking about criminal. It's like, okay, right, I'm
talking about only in a criminal data bank. I'm talking about when they run your prints. Because I'm talking about criminal check. Even though they know me, if they want me to work on a project, when I got to go to the court or the juvenile hall or the prison, they have to run my prints, and they want to see if I've been arrested and if I try to use another name. That's why people don't understand that, okay? So if he ever has to run fingerprints, they're going to see if he's trying to use another name, if he's gotten in any trouble. But he stays away from anything where you have to do something like that. He stays far away. So when he gets caught one day, and I know he's going to get caught because I feel it, because I work with this population. Trust me, okay? He's going to get caught. When he goes to court, I can guarantee you they're going to say Umar Johnson, AKA. Trust me, I know. Okay.
Well, I read a background investigation. There's already 10 AKAs. There's 10.
I'm sure there are. I know it because I know people that do this kind of. I don't put them down or anything.
I got 10 AKAs. I have to do this to protect the integrity of my firm with people that I work with. And that's how I led to go further, because people were asking me, you've offered in with your company, and you might not know who this guy is. Right. Well, anyway, I would have had to run a full background investigation anyway to protect the corporate integrity, because corporations have to really be careful in who they engage contracts with or work with.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I did run an investigation. It's 10 AKAs.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, And
if you've seen my latest blog, you will see Umar R. Johnson is married and an Arabian.
All right, is that the one where's that posted?
That was probably the latest one. I didn't reveal too much information from that because, like I said, he watches the information that we put out in order to kind of retailor it. That's why everything he may be saying different things in different places. He pulls that information and he tries to tailor it to what it is. So I only gave limited information.
Because he took the principal off his website. He used to have principal, because I was following all the things that he was saying, all this job titles he was having. He's taken the principal off his website. He used to call himself a principal, but that's gone. But he calls himself principal on Twitter because he can block more people from Twitter. He can't block people from his regular website. Boy, he is a shade tree mechanic if I've ever seen one.
He's not the person that everybody.
Of course he isn't. Trust me.
And I don't mean in that respect. I mean legally.
I never. That's why I didn't give him one red cent. And trust me, I'm not trying to act like I know it all, but
no, you do.
I've dealt with real criminals. He's got nothing. He's got nothing on the people that I have to deal with. He's amateur.
And you know what? I said that in one of my videos. I said
amateur.
Because we know some real cons that can do better than this.
Yeah, he's baby cakes. I know women that can.
He's a baby cake con.
Yeah, it's very easy to figure out.
You're right. You are so right.
Well, look here, ladies. We are beyond our time. Is the young brother still with us? Would you want to say anything else before you go? Give the address of your organization so people that hear this show may that want to donate may donate to you?
He said he was going to
Young brother?
get with you.
Well, I think he's gone then because he didn't chime in. So, like, we're dealing at the end of our time. If you want to say something real quick, say it real quick before I shut down the show.
I encourage the parents to do their own research and look for advocacy groups that know the law. Look for lawyer advocacy programs that know special education law, and don't refuse any service that's out there, because we're part of this country too. And every service out there, we should be getting it. This is the only,
we pay for it.
System that we have. What other system is there? That's it. You know what I mean?
Because he sure don't have his own. He don't have his own system set up. People can't even get through to him when they call him for help. And like he said, if you don't give a donation, he's gonna hang up on you.
That's horrible. Yes.
I'm signing off with protect your babies, protect your mind, and always ask questions.
Thank you.
And be careful who you let into your mind to control your thinking.
Absolutely.
You'll be controlling your own thinking anyway. So I would like to say good night. And this has been another episode of Wake Up African People. And thank you.
Good luck, everyone.
Good night. Thank you. Thank you so much, Andrea. Thank you.
Okay, and I'll send that. Yes. All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
There's no better deal for $4 than the Wendy's 4 for $4 meal. Start with our Junior Bacon Cheeseburger. Made with fresh beef and freshly cooked bacon, crisp all-white meat chicken nuggets, natural cut fries, and an ice cold Coke. All for just $4. No one makes $4 sound as good as Wendy's. Get more for $4. The 4 for $4 meal deal. Now at Wendy's. Offer includes small fries and drink at participating Wendy's for limited time. Prices may vary. Offer not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh ground beef available in the contiguous U.S. and Canada.